The Genestealer Cult are sneaky, operating while others are distracted from the real goal. So while people watch the, not that great live stream of 11th edition Warhammer 40,000 that Games Workshop is currently running, the Brood Coven will rise. This is about the new detachments the Genestealer Cult will get in the new edition of 40k. With me, faction expert Christian Von Carmian. We will look at the Purestrain Broodswarm supporting the Purestrain Genestealers, the Xenocult Masses boosting the Neophytes, and the heroes of the Uprising that makes the Assassins more assassiny. Comment which one is your favourite, or if you can't pick, keep that thought in your mind through the video. All of these are 1 detachment point detachments. In a 1000 point game, or anything up to but not including 2000 points, you have 2 detachment points. And a 2000 point or higher has 3 detachment points. All the 1 detachment points have 3 stratagems at most. That could be only 1 stratagem and lots of enhancements, like we saw for the Librarius Conclave, which had no stratagems. Heroes of the Uprising could have an enhancement for each of its characters, and only 1 or 2 stratagems. But you can combine these new detachments with detachments from our codex. All ours are expected to be 2 detachment points, because they focus on a few units but not the whole army. Even the Host of Ascension, which is good for a lot of units, doesn't much help the units that start on the table. The Purestrains, the infiltrating characters, not the vehicles, as you want to come from reserves to get the detachment bonus, not disembark. And the Xenocult Masses detachment for the Neophytes can't be combined with the Host detachment. Odd thing to put if Host of Ascension was 3 detachment points. Then you couldn't combine it anyway, as 2000 points is the biggest game size shown, and that has a maximum of 3 detachment points. It could be that Xenocreed has the Host tag for some reason, but that seems silly. Or maybe Host of Ascension is 3 detachment points, and this Host tag is there in case the detachment point value changes as a matter of balance. For this video, I will assume that all our detachments in the Codex are 2 detachment points. There has been no mention of Final Day. This is a Grotmus detachment, and we've seen them reworked as one of the new, in quotation mark, detachments. Hopefully Genestealer Cult and Tyrannid stick together. There may yet be a reworking of it for 11th edition balance. Same stratagems, maybe 2 detachment points, and the same sort of limit on allies we've seen in other detachments from Grotmus. They have a maximum of 500 points of allies, regardless of game size. Or perhaps, as Final Day is not a 1 detachment point detachment, we keep rules as they are. We don't know. For this video, I will be running under the assumption that we have got 6 big detachments and these 3 small ones. Then I'm not skipping combos that could be relevant. Better to say something that is ultimately incorrect over hiding the truth. I don't know what the message is. That's what the Brood Mind told me to say. And there's no bladed cog themed AdMech detachment as we had in 8th and 9th edition. Maybe we can claim that the Xenocult Masses is the bladed cog. They like Neophytes a lot, posing as AdMech workers with extra durability, so that matches. There's no Psyker detachment that I hoped for to boost the Patriarch, the Magus, and the Benefactus, but I'm happy with what we got. The Genestealer Purestrain Broodswarm. I did predict this one. Genestealers getting support in the Genestealer Cult. It's absurd, yet here we are. If you want to play the Biosanctum Brood Surge and you're not that bothered about the Aberrants, I am with you. But that doesn't mean you skip the Abominant. We want Big Hammer Lady, and now you can get her on a t-shirt. We love Big Hammer Lady shirts available in a range of colours. There are 2. I didn't want to make it overly complicated and rack you with indecision. Also a sticker sheet. Attach them to something like poker chips, and you have the perfect gaming aids for 11th edition. Link is in the description. The Purestrain Broodswarm is 1 detachment point, so you can combine it with all the other detachments, except for the ones marked as Purestrain. I expect the Biosanctum Brood Surge is marked as Purestrain and Aberrant to stop super Purestrains. So we'll look at what the Purestrain Broodswarm can do, what that really means, and then which detachments to combine them with. So the detachment rule, enemy within. It's a leave and return ability at the end of the enemy turn. You've seen them many times. They've started calling them uppy downies on Warhammer TV. That's okay. It's a good ability. It's useful in some cases, but not all that many for the Genestealers. Think of a Purestrain's job. They infiltrate. They maybe do secondary missions in the first turn. They charge the enemy turn 1, or they run up into their face to move block them. Then the enemy can't get past them, and has to kill them, thus increasing the amount of time it takes for them to get out of their deployment zone and into the rest of our army while we take control of the board. These rolls want the Purestrains on the table, and if you head towards the enemy, you're gonna lose the unit. It won't survive until the end of the enemy turn. However, once dead, return the units of 5 with 2 resurgence points. Then we have a useful utility unit. Drop in, score victory points in our turn in a corner of the board, leave at the end of the enemy turn, ready to go again and score more points somewhere else. That is good. And it also means you could try hit and run tactics. Usually on units returning to the fight. Arrive from reserves, hope to roll a 9. Yes, in 11th edition you arrive over 8 inches rather than over 9 inches when coming from reserves, but you have to roll a 9 to get a valid charge target. I have a video explaining that. Go check it out if you're unsure. So you hope you make the charge, you kill a small enemy unit, you clean up damage and isolated enemies, and then disappear if they're all dead and we don't get charged in the enemy turn. For the stratagems, we know 2 of them for this detachment. Presumably there is a third. Lurk and Strike is fall back and charge. This was mentioned in the video, not on the article. Enemies want to tie us up in the first turn, especially to stop us getting to their squishy infantry. I've been charged by rhinos in turn 1 to do that exact thing. Now, I had a Patriarch and heroically intervening Von Ryans to kill it and get going, but if I didn't, this is the perfect stratagem. You can't advance and fall back in the same turn. Presumably those are still separate types of moves in 11th edition. We are slowed a little bit, but not stopped. And Purestrains move very fast. Good stuff. The second stratagem is Crawling Horror. Use it on a unit in area terrain that is hidden. And because Purestrains don't shoot, we should be hidden a lot. Normally enemies can't shoot hidden units unless within 15 inches. We modify that by 6 and cannot be shot outside of 9 inches. It has some unfortunate timing, which changes how you use it. It's used at the start of the enemy movement phase, before they have moved. If it was the start of their shooting phase, we could become untargetable. But the enemy knows they have to be within 9 inches to reach us, so they have to come closer if they want to shoot us. The benefit being that gets their units closer to us. So it can be good for the first turn to make the enemy think, do I really move close to Genestealers? Or do I not bother them for now? Which keeps the initiative and control of the game with us. We decide how the game unfolds, and that is what the Genestealer Cult is all about. We control where we strike, and the enemy reacts. If we lose initiative and are throwing cultists at problems to fix what our opponent has done, we're on the road to defeat. We know one of the enhancements, Mark of the Star Children. It's an upgrade so it can go on a Purestrain unit and it doesn't need to have a character with them. And this can be taken 3 times for our maximum 3 units of Purestrains in the army. We don't know how expensive it is, and I expect very. Maybe 30 points or so? It goes on a big unit of 10, please. It gives us a 4+ armor save, so against attacks with no armor penetration, we have a good save. Against any amount of armor penetration, we have a 5+ invulnerable save to fall back on. It gives us +1 toughness, so we're as tough as an orc. Orc hybrids? Anyone remember orc hybrids? No? Not really? Yes? Maybe? Okay. Toughness 5, 2 wounds, and an invulnerable save. These are fast orc knobs that are more survivable. That's what we have here. It's really strong. But we also have the power to cut through orcs. +1 strength, to be strength 5. Orcs might be popular at the start of the edition. It'd be good to wound them on a 4+. And toughness 8 and toughness 9 vehicles, we wound them on a 5+ instead of a 6+ without any Biosanctic Brood Surge boosts. Aside from like damage, which isn't needed for shredding infantry, strength is the attack stat that the Purestrains are lacking. We've got good speed to get there. We have a good number of attacks, average strength. Now it's higher. I like it. I hope it doesn't break the points bank. As an enhancement to the unit, if enhancements work like they do in 10th edition, as it says unit, not models, a Patriarch can also benefit. This really only gives it +1 strength. It already has a 4+ save, +1 toughness won't work while part of the bodyguard. You use the bodyguard's toughness, and once the bodyguard dies, the unit that had the enhancement is gone, and the Patriarch would revert back to its own toughness 5. The +1 strength to be strength 7 is okay. It might come up when attacking Strength 6 infantry, which we should avoid, as the unit is mostly going to be Strength 5 and still wounding on a 5+. But awesome! Which detachments do we add this to? Who wants better Purestrains? The Outlander Claw has its early damage and blocking and scoring dealt by Scouting Bikes, and may only have one unit of 5 Purestrains. We can't take it in the Biosanctum Brood Surge. Host is happy. It's a good first turn with the units on the board while we wait for the reserves to come in. I don't know about using any stratagems and command points on this unit. I tend to want to save the command points for the turn 2 and the turn 3. But Xenocreed will like it. The theme of that detachment is advance and charge. Purestrains do that, and now they can do it even better, as the Brood Swarm supports the Acolyte Swarm. The Host of Ascension and Final Day have leave and return abilities. Now the Xenocreed can do as well. Final Day would be the best thinking of it in reverse. Which is the best big detachment for this small one? Purestrains enjoy getting led by a Patriarch and them having full rerolls to hit and wound. Perhaps with one of the enhancements to deny Overwatch on the Patriarch. As far as we know for 11th edition, the character can have an enhancement and the unit can have an enhancement. And more maneuvering and surviving in the first turn will help to deliver that initial strike, alongside infiltrating Tyranids. This is looking good as a supportive detachment. The neophytes of the Xenocult Masses are the other horde. The detachment rule is Hordes of the Faithful. You get even more neophytes as long as you're in the area terrain. So in your command phase, if a friendly neophytes unit is within area terrain, you heal 3 wounds. You don't need to be wholly within, just within. And then you recover model. The way heals work, it isn't like it was in 10th edition, where you recover wounds on multi-wound models, but otherwise you don't get models back. Heal is going to be you get models back. So it is possible with this detachment to lose the cult icon, regenerate the cult icon model with this detachment ability, and then at any point in the command phase, use the icon to get D3+3 models back. That's a maximum of 9 neophytes. And that assumes you're on an objective, and the biggest area terrain squares are the objectives. So we're resurrecting, like the bionics in the bodies of our people are helping them get back up. Yes, I am just pretending this is the Bladed Cog detachment. It's the closest we've got. I know you're looking at 20 neophytes and thinking, wow, that's a lot of regeneration, but also think of 10 neophytes. The enemy will have to wipe them all out. Otherwise, we could be healed to full. It's very annoying. So our opponents will have to commit to wiping out this cheap unit, or they've wasted an attack activation. But enemies that could already kill a lot of neophytes will not have much of a problem either wiping us out so we can't use this, or cutting through more neophytes. But if they were already struggling to wipe us out, this makes it much harder. This lets us charge into enemies that don't have the attacks to kill us, and hold them up for multiple turns. It's a good detachment rule. There's mild bonuses from the other aspects shown off. The enhancement is Devious Disguises. They're able to blend in with their surroundings. It's an upgrade, so you can have it on multiple neophyte units, and it reduces their detection range by 3 inches, so it'll be 12 inches like lone operative range, but that's when you're hidden. You have to be hidden. If you shoot, you lose hidden, and this enhancement does nothing. If I have 5 spare points, and this is 5 points, sure. The stratagem Slunk from the Underbelly, which definitely sounds like it's a guy called Slunk, and he's from an indie band you hadn't heard of before. If your neophyte unit is wholly within area terrain, it's Armor of Contempt. And enemies' ranged attacks that target your neophyte unit have -1 armor penetration. It's only in the shooting phase, and only in your opponent's shooting phase. It does nothing for us in combat. If Go to Ground is still around in the same way that it is currently around, then when we're in the open, we'll go to ground. That gives an invulnerable save and the benefit of cover. Otherwise, ignore 1 point of armor penetration from enemy units that shoot, like Intercessors. They fire a lot of shots at AP -1, but we may be dead anyway. Unless it's just enough to survive to use the detachment rule and regenerate a lot of models. The other annoying thing is the wording. Not from a, oh, this makes it harder to use, but from a, yeah, Games Workshop don't explain things well. Bad communication. How long does this stratagem last? The target is that neophyte hybrid unit. The effect, range weapons that target your unit have -1 AP until that unit has attacked. If the target of the stratagem is the neophytes, Well, does it last until the enemy unit shooting at us has finished shooting? Or does it last until the neophytes shoot back? It's the first one. It's definitely the first one. But it's very easy to read as a bonus defense for the neophytes until you shoot at some point. Rules interpretations and fights over rules as intended will continue into 11th edition. Please reword it Games Workshop to be that enemy unit. Then it's fine. Okay, which detachments will like this as support? The Final Day will like to have neophytes that can regenerate faster so they can be eaten faster. More num-nums for the Tyranids. You can't have it with Host of Ascension, the detachment that uses lots of 20 neophyte squads. Unfortunate. The Outlander Claw usually wants at most 10 neophytes because they're going to be in a Goliath truck. And there are plenty of other units that could be in a Goliath truck. And we have the bikes for sticky objectives, so you don't need the neophytes in Outlander Claw. Biosanctuary Brood Surge doesn't really do neophytes. It wants units that you're going to attach the biophagus to because they're going to charge into combat and have more attacks and do more damage. Neophytes are not it. In the Brood Brothers Auxilia, we like neophytes. Neophytes can be boosted to have +1 to their hit roll from the detachment rule. And there is an enhancement that the Icon Ward especially will like. The Hero Returned. The unit has +1 objective control and +1 leadership. The Icon Ward gives them a 5+ Feel No Pain, add on the regeneration from the detachment rule, and even the stratagem to prevent enemy armor penetration. There's stacking bonuses to prevent damage, and regeneration is much higher. And the enemy cannot push you off the objective by outscoring you with objective control, because you have more objective control, and your leadership is higher, so it's much harder to battle shock you. That's a leadership 5+ Icon Ward. It's only going to work on one of your neophyte blocks, but you put them on an objective, and unless the enemy sends like their entire army at that one objective, you're going to keep it for the whole game. That's a good choice. The other one I'm looking at is the Xeno Creed. The neophytes also benefit from the Xeno Creed congregation. If they have a character with them, any character, they can reroll our advance and charge rolls, and there are many good stratagems. Transcendent Celerity, have Assault, then you can move and advance, rerolling that advance roll potentially, and then shoot an enemy unit that was otherwise hidden. Path of Anguish, to surge move into the enemy, d6 inches, and the enemy's going to have a much harder time cutting through us because of this detachment rule in the Xenocult Masses. And if you wanted, it is an idea, Frenzied Devotion on the Neophytes. You get +1 attack, so it doubles the number of attacks, and you get +1 weapon skill. There is Hazardous as the drawback. And Hazardous in 11th edition, I'm pretty sure is failed on a 1 or a 2, and then you take 1 mortal wound. We'll lose models faster, we can do more damage, especially against our equivalent, like Chaos Cultists and Imperial Guardsmen, but then we will regenerate faster. So this is a good combo with the Xeno Creed. It's a horde on top of the horde. That works. The third detachment is not a horde of any kind, it is about the heroes of the Uprising, but the assassins. The assassins, really. They have a killer reputation, so Kelomorphs, Locusts, Reductus Saboteurs, and Sanctus are killers. Killers reroll hit rolls and wound rolls of 1. Already that's good for so many of attacks because we hit on 3s, usually. And rerolling wound rolls of 1, that's good. Bomb Ladies Bomb, that demolition charge, hits on a 3, rerolling hit rolls of 1. Wounds most enemies on a 2, rerolling 1s. If you like taking a few of the infiltratey type characters, yeah, Kelomorph can't infiltrate, that's unfortunate. But if you like the characters, this is a good detachment. Doesn't do anything for the Jackal Alphas, not a killer apparently. There's no Clamavus or Nexus anywhere. I mean, good, no Clamavus. All my friends hate that guy. But the more killy characters get even more killy. The stratagem shown off is fine. It's rather niche, it's potentially useful at some point in the game. In your shooting phase, or either player's fight phase, when a friendly killer has attacked, if they destroyed an enemy unit or an enemy character model, any character model, then battle-shocked Genestealer Cult units within 12 inches that can see the killer are no longer battle-shocked. If done in the shooting phase, that may let you start doing an action, because you're no longer battle-shocked. If done in the fight phase, at least you've recovered your objective control before the enemy turn when they might score. Yeah, it's a very situational thing that we might want at some point. The enhancement is much better. A Locus or a Sanctus has +1 damage to their attacks. That's shooting and combat. Just in case your close combat weapon on your Sniper Sanctus got in there and did something. Now it's damage 2. The Locus becomes a cheap, super killy character. Reroll hit rolls and wound rolls of 1. Damage 3. Sometimes the fight first may come up. They're a cheap assassin with a bodyguard. With acolytes with mining tools, that's even more damage 3. With metamorphs, you have damage 1 or damage 2, and someone with damage 3. Acolytes with hand flamers. Okay, in the Host of Ascension, drop in, shoot one thing on an objective, you get full rerolls to wound from their unit ability. Charge another unit, there's an enhancement to give you +2 to the charge, that's Our Time Is Nigh. Then the Locust model is rerolling hit rolls of 1, and because of the Acolyte's full rerolls to wound against enemies on objectives, your Strength 5 attacks are rerolling wound rolls, and your AP -2, with 3 damage. Sweep all the heavy infantry, Possessed, Custodes, Gravis Marines. That is messy. And then you have the attacks of the Acolytes. They won't get reroll hit rolls of 1. That specifies these killer models, not units. On a Sanctus, it's good on either kind. The Sanctus Sniper, while it's not ideal because it's only 1 shot, Anti-Psyker 2+ is fine. That can be very useful. You've got precision, so you can shoot enemy characters. Now you're damage 4. So if the enemy fails their save, that's killing a lot more characters. 4 wounds is much more common as a breaking point. And the Knife Sanctus, go for their Psychic Spore target. Enemies cannot fire Overwatch at you. You already fully reroll hits and all wounds. You have an anti-infantry 3+ knife, and now it's damage 3. That can shred. Not just characters with its precision ability, but heavy infantry generally. We have a lot of options for where we can put this enhancement. Unfortunately, it is an enhancement, not an upgrade, so we can only have it the once. But I expect we'll get other enhancements for all of the other characters mentioned. A Kelamorph getting, Worm Tooth rounds? In 9th edition they were Strength 6, -3 AP and damage 3. Maybe Demo Lady gets a better bomb or a second planted explosive. There's a lot potentially, if it's there, that we can work with. And this detachment doesn't have any, if you've got the other detachment you can't use it. This can go with any of our Codex detachments. In the final day, having the Locus for another fight first unit is good. You've got Lictors, you've got Death Leaper, you've got Von Ryan's Leapers. There's a lot of fight first units available to us. If the enemy charges multiple of our units, that's when fight first will really come into effect, when you have many fight first units. Bonus damage Locus is going to be scary. I've said the Locus is going to be very useful in the Host of Ascension. I use a Locus in the Host of Ascension. With this particular enhancement, I might also continue using a Locus in the Host of Ascension, especially if they're a cheap character. And I take a Bomb Lady and a Sanctus. They're very useful utility pieces. Good stuff. In the Brood Brothers Auxilia, for any of our characters, if they can shoot something that a Brood Brothers unit shot, then we go from hitting on a 3+ to hitting on a 2+, re-rolling hit rolls of 1. A nice bonus. It's very good for the Outlander Claw. The kind of characters that the Outlander Claw takes is usually Reductor Saboteurs in transports. Anyone that's going to jump out of a transport. A Sanctus, good choice. Have a knife, get out of a transport, enemy can't fire Overwatch at you, you go and stab the thing that you use Psychic Spore on. You got delivered there. The Reductor Saboteur jumps out and throws her bomb and 3 grenades. Now she's better. I have some indirect shots. You're rerolling hit rolls and wound rolls of 1, even if you need a 6 to hit. That's potentially more hits, just to do some more damage. The Xeno Creed will want the other 2 detachments that we've shown off, and almost by default, this is the Biosanctuary Broodsurge's extra detachment. Because they can't take the Purestrain one, they don't care about the Neophyte one, so having some extra characters that's a bit better, that can work. Especially Reductor Saboteur, a lot more Infiltrate. The Biosanctuary Broodsurge is a detachment that likes to have a lot of infiltrating units. Lots of Purestrains already up there, an enhancement to put some Aberrants up there, put some Bomb Ladies around there, and maybe a Sanctus or 2. This is what you want with your Biosanctuary Broodsurge. So, did you comment which new detachment is your favourite? And which of our existing detachments do you want to combine that with? I like the Purestrains and the super characters as the best ones. Host of Ascension is looking like the best detachment going into 11th edition with Ignore Cover, and now we have the character support for that as well. The subscribe button is there to be clicked, and here is a playlist covering all of the Codex detachments for you to go into more depth and think about which one is your favorite with the new detachments. Have a great day of 40k.